And also, can we mute everybody except the facilitators? So to make the class
Can we do what?
have a, I said, can we mute everybody except the facilitators, the volunteers,
Okay.
so that there will be a level of decorum? Anybody that wants to pass a message should send it through chat. That means you have to be checking the chat to know what people are saying.
All right, that's it. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Thank you. So can I go ahead?
Yes, sir.
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. So good evening once again. This is group 4. We are working on anthropometric analysis. However,
sorry, this class is not being recorded.
Not being recorded.
Please don't worry, it is being recorded.
What did you say?
It is being recorded. It is being recorded.
Okay.
Hello, I don't think this section is being recorded at the moment, though.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think we are just live, but it's not being recorded. So that we don't
Yeah, and
all our effort to not
some
be
few
in
minutes
vain.
ago, it's like recording was stopped, so it has not been
Exactly.
started again. So just check so that will start.
All right, sorry, I think I'm having a network glitch here. Okay, can everyone hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So, like I said, I'll start with the introduction of the topic, anthropometric analysis. Anthropometric analysis is the study of the measurement of the human body in terms of dimension that has to do with the bone, the muscle, the tissue, and other body parts. It is defined to deal with dimension, the body size, the shape, the strength, and working capacity for design purpose and body composition. However, Dawal et al. 2012, Shiro and Abubakar 2012, Majuda 2014 measured substantious tissues that are important because human beings are with large values and are reported to have increase in hypertension, adult diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and other ailments. However, anthropometric analysis deals with the measurement of height, the weight, the head circumference, and also the body mass index, amongst others. However, this has to do with measurements around the waist, the hips, and the limbs. Also, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, anthropometric analysis are used for valuable assessments of nutritional status in children and adults. So basically, this tells us that anthropometric analysis, as we know, deals with the interaction between humans, the humans and the environment, and also the humans and the workplace, to mention but a few. Thank you very much. We'll be moving on to the literature review that has to do with the historical development of anthropometric analysis. Chapter 2.
Okay. For the anthropometric history, I'll be going through discussing on where and who developed anthropometry. So looking through, the anthropometry has actually been in existence since the 19th century. It was developed by Alfonso Bertillon. Alfonso Bertillon was actually a son of a doctor who was the founder in the Society of Anthropology of Paris. And what were part of the things that engingered and made him wonder and try to find out what anthropometry is. Like we have said earlier in our chapter 1, anthropometry is basically the science of obtaining measurements of the human body. So for Alfonso Bertillon, who was the one who discovered anthropometry, what made him discover this? By the time he started his working career, he was working in a Paris police force. And as he was working there, he discovered that during his career, they used to have a challenge in knowing the criminals, or if new people come into the prison, or the people in the prisons, if they have committed an offense, if it's their first time or their second time, they were unable to do this thing because the prisoners were also getting very, very smart and outsmarting the people on duty by using nicknames. Because in those times, what used to happen was in the prisons or in the criminal places, what they do is that when you commit an offense, they note your name in alphabetical order. So criminals, being criminals of who they are and being very smart people, they decided sometimes they will use aliases or nicknames and confuse the officers in charge. It was all these things that troubled and bothered Alfonso Bertillon that made him start thinking of, okay, what are the easier ways for us to be able to identify these people? These were part of the things that made him start discovering and finding out that, okay, he could find out a group of people, maybe measure, because he found out that once someone is up to 20 years and above, your what's the thing itself? Like you have a fixed part. Hold on, please. You have a fixed bone density by the time you get to like age 20. So those were part of the things that engineered his thoughts and his thought process that made him decide that, okay, if we can measure people and see how people from a particular age to this age, we can now decide, instead of coming to put people in different names, you can have them segmented as small, medium, and large. And from that way, they were able to streamline and be able to find out new people that come into the prison facility, and also be able to find out people that have committed offenses more than once and be able to beat out them. So these are kind of the things that made them think of bringing out anthropology. Like we have said earlier, it's a science that is used to associate, find out racial, cultural, psychological attributes of different human beings. And how do they do these things? They use height, they use size, they use head circumference, they use length, just different body mass index to find out. Anthropology is also a science that has also made it easy. Like today, we sit down in our offices and you find out that how have you wondered why it is that at a particular time, maybe your office chairs, they're at a particular level. No matter how, if you're fat, if you're slim, if you're tall, if you're short, once you sit down on your office chair, you are comfortable. It's the science of anthropometry that has helped to do all these things because what they do is they carry a range of people, find out from their head, their body circumference, and their measurement, be able to get things like office desks, even the cars today. Have you wondered how come a particular car, once someone sits in the car, either if you're tall or if you're short, you're comfortable? Anthropometry is part of the science that helped us to discover um, all these things. I'll just briefly go to some of the tools that we speak about. Like, the tools for anthropometry that we use are things like the weighing scale to use to check somebody's BMI, like body mass index. We have the measuring tapes that we use to check the circumference of the head, or to also check people's lap circumference. We have the skin fold calipers, we have the gonimeters, we have the pressure mapping systems. They're just body scanners. All these things were things that when he discovered, it also helped to improve the criminal system then in Paris. In fact, for some people in Paris, then they changed it from instead calling a prometry like the judicial system to be able to help them in the police force. It's also used, if we check as far back as the 1800s, that's the 19th century, you find out that the science of anthropometry also helped civilization in places like Greece, in places like Rome, down in Africa, in places like Egypt. You find out that some of our artworks and all those things, it was the science of anthropometry that was used. You can remember the very famous painting of Da Vinci Code. It's anthropometry that was used to do all those things, to be able to get like the size of how people were in those times, the 18th and 20th century. It was even helpful as far back to be able to find out where they had like some North American immigrants. You find out that immigrants from North America, those ones were very, very short. With that, the science of anthropometry also helped them to be able to know the right diet and all to give people coming from those areas. So in summary, this the history and the tools that have been used and the data that has also been given are things that have helped to engineer and bring up things like we said earlier, our cars, our work tools. It's just also in very rare cases that anthropometry is used for exceptional cases. Let me say in an issue where they need to do like artificial hands and legs for people ahead. It's also the size of anthropometry that also helps in preparing all those things. In a nutshell, it's used for where they have a huge group of people to use an average of the body measurements of those people to be able to work with science and create technology and things to make life easy and make things better. I think I've been able to speak a lot about the history. So it's also known as the Bertillon Bertillone science or so, and that is also from the name of Mr. Alphonse Bertillon that brought about the science. He was born in 1813 and he died in 1914. So we thank him for bringing anthropometry, and we thank God that till today we are enjoying what the science of anthropometry has brought to humankind. Thank you. So you can look through the slides. It's showing you all the things that have through measurements and all the different tools in place that can be used to check your body measurements. These are the measuring tapes that can be used to check your head circumference, can be used to check your thighs. This is the head spinner. And also, if you look through the slides at your quiet time, you also read through all those things. They're quite self-explanatory. I think you can now go to chapter 3.
So, chapter 3, we're going to be looking at the exposure factors. This actually means what do the tools account for? What factors exactly do the tools account for? Meaning, what exactly do we use for? That is, what do we use it in looking out for? When we apply this tool, what are we looking out for? We'll be looking at structural measurements such as the height, the weight, the body mass index of the human being. Now, these are core elements of anthropometry. Remember, in anthropometry, we're dealing with human beings, measurement of human beings. So exposure factors, we're looking, the tools account for the height, the weight, the head circumference, the body mass. In a summary, we are looking at the height, the weight, the body mass index, gender, and the age. That's for the exposure factors. Exposure factors, that's what we're looking at. So beyond this, we're also going to look at the body regions. Which area of the body are these tools we mentioned, the measuring scale, the standometer, the anthropometric chair? What areas of the body are these tools relevant to? Now, there's so much because the tools measure the human body. So there's so much to be looked out for. So I'll just mention a few, and then the slide contains so much more of them. Most of those tools we analyze, validated tools, are relevant to almost all the parts of the body. So we're going to mention some of them, and then we'll look at the slide. So we can look at the head height, the height of the head, the length and the width, the head shape, the sitting and standing height. For that, like the stadiometer, of course, the sitting and the standing height. Then the head circumference, the face, the eye socket, the eye to eye gap, the nose, the sinus cavity. Like my colleague explained earlier, these things were used for various things in those days to expose criminality and all that. So it's not only segregated to one particular area. So we're going to look at the waist breadth to elbow breadth, the top, the thigh circumference, arm length, upper length, knee height, stomach size, genitals, brain size, cerebral hemisphere, skin thickness, skin folds. That's when we talk about the calipers, the body fat percentage, the waist to hip ratio, and all of that. So there are a lot of body. In fact, it expands almost the head, the whole body, but it depends on what exactly we're working on for the tools we choose or to use. So we're going to move on to some of the tools we talked about and some of their specific areas. For example, the body, the weighing scale. The weighing scale looks at your body mass. The stadiometer looks at the head to the beam, knee to beam, waist to knee, and all of that. Then the measuring tape deals with circumferences, the waist circumference, head circumference, thigh circumference, bicep circumference, hip to limb length, and a lot more. Then the skin fold caliper looks at the stomach, the biceps, the thighs, the calves, just to mention a few. Then the anthropometric chair, the thigh, the knee, the eye, the shoulder, the elbow, the wrist, the elbow to limb, the sitting spine angle, and just to mention a few. So every other thing we have is contained. You can look through the slides to get much of the information we'll be looking for. So we can progress to the limitation.
All right, thank you very much for that. I guess we should move to chapter 5 now, which has to do with the limitations. This basically helps us to identify when the tool is not appropriate for use.
Okay, so
Yes, you have the floor.
Okay, so the limitations. Here you get to know the things that could cause lapses that could make you not to have accurate results. That's what they call the contraindications. So anthropometric measurements, they are not invasive. These are not things that you inject into your body. So they are not things that could give you, they are things that you have to do some certain things to get accurate results, unlike probably injections or probably take some things in the body. So we have generic examples like when you are ill, when you are ill, during illness, health illness or injury, you might not be able to like probably stand or this thing because of your health. So that could give inaccurate measurements. You have illness of trained competent to or equipment personnel, the person that is meant to take the measurements and all. If the person is not feeling well, he might not be able to do his or her job well. So we might have lapses in the results. Inadequate maintenance of tools, defective tools, when the tools is contaminated, when the tool or equipment is not suitable, ethnicity or racial belief system. Sometimes our race or probably our beliefs can prevent us from getting this. Imagine somebody that is well covered is unable to remove it or covering to get some specific measurements. You not have accurate results.
Yes, those
but
are.
Let's move down to
those
the
are
specific
the
ones that we're looking at. Yeah, the specific ones for like
so
weighing.
we can move on to the specifics.
Yes, the weighing scale. The limitations we have are avoid using the weighing scale when it is effective. It is not appropriate for an overweight person to use some specific measuring scale. It is not appropriate for use when zero error calibration error is observed. External materials should not be attached or inclusive when taking measurements of an individual. Do not use the weighing scale in a liquid medium as it take. Avoid using the electronic weighing scale when the battery is low. Then the second one, stadiometer, I already know what that is used for. It cannot measure accurately the height of a person that is not standing well. There's a specific position you should be in when you're using the equipment. It is not appropriate for use when a part is defective. It is not appropriate when the individual is when the individual taking the measurement to wear a footwear. Lack of technical know-how. If you don't know how to use it, you will not have accurate results. The third one, that's measuring scale. Avoid using weighing scale when it's defective. Avoid using the measuring tape when it's defective. When probably we have some measurements out, some numbers out, avoid using it. You'll not be able to get accurate results. Skin fold caliper. Lack of technical know-how. Defective caliper. When the caliper reading on the equipment have faded, making it difficult to read parameters. The last one, the anthropometric chair, defective or faulty chair. Avoid using when it's defective or faulty. When a non-upright position is to be taken, you have to be, when your position is not upright, if you have to lie down on this, you cannot use the anthropometric chair. Then lastly, lack of technical know-how. You need not to use all these equipment to use them, basically. That's all.
All right, thank you very much. We'll move on to chapter 6. This has to do with when to use the equipment appropriately. However, let's provide example of when it would be best to use these tools.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm going to be taking us through chapter 6, that is when to use this tool. We're going to be providing examples. So first on the list is the weighing scale, which is used for documenting the profile data of a new employee on a job, and also taking the pre-employment medical examination of a person. It also has its application in the medical industry, where it is used to monitor the weight loss and weight gain of a person. It's also used to get the level of fitness of a person, the nutritional balance of an individual. It's also used by pediatricians to measure babies' weights and doctors to check for the weight of pregnant women. It also has this application in the aviation sector, where it is used to check for the weight of our bag and baggages before we board our flights. Now, secondly, we have the stadiometer, which is basically used to check for the height of a person. So it has application in for getting our passports or during passport registration. Height is one of the things that are required. So we use stadiometer to get that. It's also used to check for the height of individuals for BMI calculation during diagnostics in the medical faculty or facility rather. And also used to check for the height of footballers, since there's some positions where they need a specific height for players. So they need to check for height of footballers, and also for soldiers, as height is one of the major requirements during recruitment of soldiers in the military. And thirdly, we have the measuring tape. So measuring tape is basically used to get dimensions to measure newly recruited individuals, now to design their uniform, overall and clothes. And it's also used to design clothes of clients in the fashion industry. And also, it is used to check for the surface dimension of an object, and also to measure parts of the human body to get the circumference of the human body, the length of baby and adult, the circumference of the stomach. Then we have the skin fold caliper, which is basically used to check for the obesity of the skin of a human. So examples are to check for the stomach fat of a person, the skin fat of a person, and all that. And it's best to use before any form of physical activities. And lastly, we have the anthropometric chair. It's also used for data acquisition during recruitment of an individual, and it is used to get the body dimensions of a physically challenged person when you want to design a wheelchair for a physically challenged person. It is also used to design to get measurements to design an ergonomic chair, office chair, and also an ergonomic vehicle seat. So when we want to construct or design such kind of chairs or seats, we use the anthropometric chair to get this design. And if we go below on page 28, we see pictures on how these tools are being used. The first picture there, we have the stadiometer, how it's being used. The second picture on page 29, we have the measuring tape used to take the dimension of a baby. Then we have the weighing scale, which is used to check for the weight of a baby and so on. So we can see its application. And we have the measuring length to check for the length of a baby's skin fold caliper to check for the skin fats. As you can see its application. It's just like it's actually a clip which is used, and a gauge which is used to measure the body fat of an individual. So these are some of the applications or uses of these tools. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. So now we understand what the purpose of anthropometric analysis does for the human interaction with the environment and the workplace. So based on our findings, we can see below the references where we source all the information for this research. And basically, I'll say thank you to everyone for participation and collaboration to achieve this project. So we can look through the references to gain more insight on anthropometric analysis. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
No questions, right?
Yes.
No questions.
So if you have questions, please, you have the floor. You can just unmute and ask your questions.
Or you have more contributions to help the group.
Contributions,
Anything
please.
that we need.
Respect. Contributions.
Okay, good evening all.
Anyone? Good evening, sir. Please introduce yourself. Who is on the line?
Yeah, Oguje Onos on the line.
Can't hear you very well. Can you please
Oguje
repeat louder?
Onovugapo. That's justice. Can you hear me now?
All right, you have the floor, sir.
Okay, so first of all, I really want to appreciate you guys. Wonderful and apt presentation. It shows that the time we spent was actually not in vain. Thank you, guys. Just an observation from my own end. During the course of presentation, I noticed that Madam Ifoma, right? That's the person that took the presentation after Mr. Tunde.
After 3 and 4.
Okay. So she was like giving the things she wanted to talk about, like I will be presenting on. So I don't think there will be need for all of those. Like she should just go straight to the presentation. And I think her presentation was a bit too lengthy considering the time that is allocated to the presentation. This is just a brief observation from my own end. Otherwise, this perfect way. I think we are on course. Thank you guys again.
You're welcome, sir. More contributions, please. Hello. Yes, contributions. Or does anybody have questions? Suggestions? Okay, please, can we all unmute? I mean, for your videos, I'd like us to see each other's faces. We have been having several meetings without identifying each other. So it would be nice to see everyone's faces and get them introduced properly.
Unfortunately, I don't know what I am, so I shall use it now.
Okay, maybe.
Everybody, good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Labake, and nice to meet everybody.
Labake, I can't see your face.
Oh, are you sure you can't see my face? My camera is off.
Yes,
it's on,
a
mother.
it's a bit dark where you are. Okay.
Yeah, no light. Our light is not really can do right now. I'm sorry. But my name is Labake, and it feels good to meet everybody finally. And I really liked the presentation and I've gained a lot. Thank you so much.
You're
You're
welcome.
welcome. Hello, everyone. I'm Adedoyin Eniola.
Sorry, your name? Oh,
Adedoyin.
oh, okay,
Adedoyin.
this is how you doing.
Yeah.
Nice meeting you.
Wow.
Likewise.
Well done, great job.
Yeah.
It's Obuji.
Yeah, Mr. Buju
I greet
speaking here.
you specially.
Yeah, good evening all. It's
Good evening,
wonderful
sir.
meeting you guys and seeing our faces, especially Madam Adedoyin. I'm looking forward to seeing Madam Informa, honestly.
All right.
All right, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, ma'am.
Wow, Mr. Tunde,
Yes, please.
thank you so much. Miss Joma, thank you, Miss Adedoyin. Thank you so much for everything. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Hello, good evening,
Okay.
everyone.
For the
Good evening.
to
Good evening,
everyone
ma'am.
too. It's such a great team, Most times I know Mr. Tunde will chat me up privately. Where are you? Why are you not? This. So thanks for being.
Sorry, I missed that part. Your name. What's your name again? I missed that part. I've been chatting to you
I
privately,
don't
and
know
I
what's
don't
happening. I
even
don't know
know.
why I can't see anybody.
So thank you so much. I've learned a lot. I've gained a lot too from that topic, and I think it's it's an interesting topic too. So thank you, everyone.
This is Mrs.
This is Mr. Biola Aminu.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, I look
Nice
forward to
meeting
seeing
you.
everybody. Yes.
Nice meeting you. You can see that Mr. Tunde is a young man. Your errand boy.
Yes.
How you doing, Mr. Tunde?
Thank you.
Yes.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm Ijoma, and thanks everyone. Thank you today so much for pushing us to be able to focus and do this work. Thanks for all the extra effort. Thanks for all the times you call for us to sleep off and you wake us the next morning. You still have this assignment. Thanks for pushing us through. Thank you. And it's
You're
nice
welcome.
to meet everybody. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. This is Mrs. Ijoma, right?
Hi,
Yeah.
good evening,
Okay, I know
everybody.
that thing. All right.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
This is Kilani Nuruddin.
Oh, Chairman, sir. I greet you specially.
I'm talking
Good
everyone
evening,
of cooperation that at least
nice seeing your face.
do to cooperate from the beginning to the end. More kudos to Mr. Tunde, who he has been trying for all these days. And my able iron lady, if from our husband. Thank everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
Mr.
Clark.
Tunde, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Okay, who do I have here?
David.
Good evening. Okay, somebody's talking.
Okay,
How you doing, Mr. Tunde?
very well, sir.
It's David online.
Thank you.
That's a good presentation. I admire you.
Thank you. It's our work. It's everybody's efforts.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, ma'am.
I'm Famude Mary. Thanks for everything, Mr. Tunde. Thanks for your time.
This is the madam that was teaching me about how to do reference.
Upper style.
Upper style. Thank you very much.
Thanks for your
Nice
patience.
seeing your face.
Same here. Thank you so much for understanding. Even when you call her, we don't pick up sometimes. Thank you for everything. We are grateful.
You're welcome.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, this is Andrew on the line with Yoruba. I want to sincerely appreciate
Sorry, your
everyone.
name again?
This is Andrew Ediorobu.
Okay.
And I want to sincerely appreciate everyone on this group. At least it has not been an easy one, but I can say you guys have done marvelously well, especially to our able leader, Mr. Tunde. It's not easy, but you did it. A big thanks to everyone. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome, sir.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Tunde.
Yes, please.
Good evening.
Good evening,
Thank you
sir.
so much for the support. Thank you so much for everything.
This is
I would like
Hope,
to say
right?
thank you to everybody in the group.
Someone else is speaking.
Mrs. Ijeoma, Mrs. Ifoma, nice presentation. Are they doing Mr. Andre? Sorry for calling you Audu during the what's it called? During our WhatsApp calls. So thank you so much, everybody. And it's nice to be part of you guys. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
Yes, good evening, ma'am.
Yeah, my name is Sophia Ajikiemi. I missed part of the presentation. I didn't know about the Zoom class until I called Sunday now. I know we have all done marvelously well. Thank you so much, Sunday, for your efforts. In fact, when I saw that the call was not coming through, I said, that's very rare because you're always prompt with timing. Thank you for your effort and thank you for everyone that presented tonight. I really appreciate you all. Such a good team we have here. God bless you all. Kudos to all the work.
Amen. Yes, thank you.
Good
Hello.
evening,
Hope
everyone.
the recording has been stopped.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Mr. Tunde. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening. You have the talk. Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. I'm so sorry. Where I am is very dark. I don't have lights
Please
here.
use torchlight.
And
We need to see your face.
I don't even have any touch
Not
lights.
even on your.
No, my phone is bad. I can't even brighten.
Okay. Go ahead. Please shoot.
Of my phone. Okay. Mr. Tunde, thank you very much. The Jesus Christ of this group right now. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Though network
welcome.
made me miss some part of the presentation, well, I kept on trying.
Sorry about
And
it.
I'm glad I made it through to this stage.
Okay, good to know that.
Yeah.
Yes, who do we have again?
Good evening, everyone.
Marianne Osai, good evening.
Yes, sir. No light here too, but Mr. Tunde, I want to really appreciate you. You've indeed been a great leader, and I know so many of us here that I'm a visually impaired person, but I private chatted you, met you, chatted you personally, and you took my case personally, and you carried me along. It's been so ever since. I want to appreciate you, sir. I'm grateful, and you're indeed a leader.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're most welcome. All thanks to God. Yes, thank you. Next, who do we have there? Has Farid spoken? Where is Farid?
Good evening.
Farid,
I
are you
spoke,
there?
but I don't know whether the network was faulty then when I was
You see your
speaking.
face.
I spoke, but good evening, everybody.
Oh, okay. I saw your face.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Tunde. Thank you so much. I'm highly grateful. Thank you so much. And thank you to all our volunteers and facilitators, Miss or Mrs. I don't want to cause anyone alarm. Miss Ijeoma or Mrs. Ijeoma.
Yes, who is yet to come?
Miss Adedoyin, and Mr. Andre also. I would like to say a big thank you to everybody. Thank you so much. It was actually fantastic. I like the presentation, sincerely. Oh,
thank you, Farid. I really appreciate it. It was great.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Our collaboration was great.
Oh, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, Saturday.
Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening. Oh,
yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please shoot.
Good evening. This is Awoye Raoni.
Hey, man.
Nice seeing your face. So.
Oh yeah, nice to see your face. Nice to see your.
Thank you very much. I thank everybody that participates in this.
I deliberately hid my face until today.
You said?
I said I deliberately hid my face until today.
You have a nice face. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we appreciate every one of you that participate in this. Thank you very, very much. God Almighty will bless you.
You're welcome, sir.
Yes, sir.
It's nice meeting you, sir. All right, next person is the next.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Daniel Oluwatosin. I'm very sorry. Like, good evening, sir. Good evening, sir. Yes, sir. I'm very sorry. Yeah, we are having issues with NEPA, so there is no light.
Okay. It's so fine. We can see your profile picture. I hope that is you.
Yes, that's me.
No, it's not large enough, but I'm struggling to see.
Yeah, that's. I really appreciate your effort in the group. Like, that's very nice, and I appreciate all the facilitators that talked tonight, and everyone that contribute together for this meeting to be successful. Thanks, everyone. Nice to meet you, sir.
You're welcome. All thanks to God.
Hello, good evening, Mr. Tunde. Good evening.
Yes, my able co-partner. Good evening, ma.
Good evening. Same to you. Nice to see you. Nice to hear.
The day has come. The presentation is over. I can even feel some relief in my body.
There is so much relief. Thank God this assignment is over. Thank God it's over. Thank you to the team. Everybody has done great. You've been a great leader, very passionate, patient. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All thanks to God. It's our work, you know.
Yes.
We thank God we are able to collaborate and ended up with a success.
Exactly. All
yes.
right.
Nice meeting you. Yes, next. You have the floor.
So, Mr. Tunde, sorry, this is Abiola.
Okay.
Okay. So we are expected to submit our assignments tomorrow.
Actually, I spoke with Onyi this afternoon.
Yes.
And he told me that there was an extension for the submission till 10th of this month.
Okay. I think for the group, I think yes. The individual, I think, is tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Yes, individual is
Actually,
tomorrow.
she just told me, but I didn't check the information she put online. So
Okay.
probably if it's tomorrow, then it's fine. I guess we should be able to.
Yeah, the individual is tomorrow. It's tomorrow.
Yes, individual is tomorrow. Then the group
Right
is
from 8
Yeah, so
a.m.
I asked her about the format, and she said we can use any format, either PDF or Word document. She said you can use the Word document, you can use the PDF. Anyone can supply.
Okay.
So I think that should be fine. Have we all concluded now? Anybody having challenges? Is anybody having challenges with the individual assignments? Okay, if anyone has any challenges, please just private chat me and then we can see what we can do. All right, who is yet to introduce his or herself?
Hello,
Anyone?
good evening. I am Andrew.
Okay, so
Hello.
I want to believe we have all introduced ourselves. Okay, so like I said earlier, anyone with challenges with individual assignments should please just private chat me. I can see Mr. Akilani eating. Please let me join you. I'm carrying my spoon too. All those in support of me eating Mr. Akilani's food, please say hi.
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 Hi, you.
Okay, I won't say anything about those not in support because the eyes already have it. So when is our next meeting?
Next meeting, Ken.
Meeting.
That
silence is over. No meeting again.
That course will now be module
Meeting don't end.
module TD.
Module extension. Assignment again. How do we have an
Next
assignment?
meeting. Who is inviting you to 4 points or Shara or Yenta?
How do we prepare for this exam with all this lengthy recording that we have?
In
Well,
fact,
we have no choice but to keep reading them. We have to be going through them and practicing.
Hello, hope the
We shall succeed by the grace of God.
stopped. Though. It's only 15 minutes. Hope it hasn't stopped.
Sorry, are we still recording?
I think recording should have stopped or something.
Because it's still showing a recording live.
It's still showing recording. And that's not
Live,
a
yeah.
problem. I can edit it later. Who has more materials to share? Anthropometric analysis. More materials to share.
Some more materials to share as far, like extra materials. Hello, sir, do you mean extra materials?